is a strange moment in every trader's life. You stare at the screen. Candles flicker red and green. It is the same chaos that used to overwhelm you, confuse you, and make your heart race. But today something feels different. The chart is the same. The market is the same. The only thing that has changed is you. You are in a losing trade that is slowly bleeding. The negative number creeps lower, tick by tick. In the past, you would have panicked. You would zoom in and zoom out. You would jump into group chats. You would beg for opinions and secretly pray for a miracle. But now you just sit there, watching, quiet, and in that quiet a very familiar voice appears in your mind. Just give it a little more time. Maybe it will come back. That is not analysis. That is not your system. That is not probability. That is hope. Since we were kids, people told us to never lose hope. In life, hope helps you get up after you fail. It helps you survive dark seasons. It helps you believe that tomorrow can be better than today. Hope keeps you moving when everything looks over. But in trading, hope is not always a virtue. In many situations, especially when you are holding a losing position, hope is the rope that ties you to a sinking ship. You do not cut the loss because you hope it will come back. You move your stop loss further away because you hope the market is just hunting stops before it goes your way. You hold a stock that is falling off a cliff because you hope it is just a pullback. You refuse to look at one simple truth. You were wrong, so you let hope take the wheel. You are no longer trading your plan. You are trading a story you made up in your head, and the market does not care. It does not know, and it does not care whether you are hopeful or desperate. It moves how it moves. Cold, indifferent, emotionless. The only person who pays the price for those hopeful stories is you. If there is one man who understood the real cost of hope in trading, it is Jesse Livermore. He was the boy plunger, the kid who bet against the market and won, the man who made and lost fortunes more than once. He earned enormous profits during historic crashes, and later watched almost everything slip away. Livermore did not just trade prices. He traded his own fear. He traded his own greed. And, most dangerously, he traded against his own illusions of hope. He once said, "It was never my thinking that made the big money. It was always my sitting." But to be able to sit like that, he had to live through countless moments where his hope was in the wrong place. Times when he held losers too long because he could not accept being wrong. Times when he believed the market would come back and save him, while the market did what it always does, whatever it wants. In trading, hope has two faces. One face looks admirable. It is the hope for the long term, the hope that you can grow, the hope that your discipline will pay off, the hope that if you stay in the game, your edge will reveal itself. That kind of hope keeps you learning, reviewing, and refining. The other face is dark and dangerous. It is the hope that one losing trade will suddenly reverse, the hope that you will catch the whole move, the hope that next time will be different, even though nothing about your behavior has actually changed. That second kind of hope, blind hope, has blown more accounts than any indicator ever will, not just for beginners, but for legends like Livermore himself. So this is not about hating hope. This is about dissecting it. What is hope really doing to you when you are in a trade? Why is hope inside the market so different from hope in normal life? How did Livermore get burned by it? And what did he eventually learn to do instead? If you have ever stared at a red position and whispered to yourself, "Let me just hold a little longer. Maybe it will come back," this is for you. Not to shame you, but to help you see what Livermore eventually saw. And maybe, this time, choose a different path for your trading future. When we talk about hope, the issue is not whether it is good or bad. The real question is, where are you putting it? And how much control does it have over your decisions? In normal life, hope is like a light. You lose a job, you get sick, you go through a breakup, And people tell you not to lose hope. They know that as long as you still believe tomorrow might be different, you will find the strength to try again. In real life, hope usually travels with action. You hope to get healthy, so you see a doctor and change your habits. You hope to get better at something, so you study and practice. You hope your family will be happier, so you change how you show up for them. But in trading, hope is often paired with doing nothing. You hope your losing trade will come back, but you do not cut it. You hope the market is just shaking out weak hands, but you do not reevaluate your thesis or your system. You hope next time will be different, but you do not journal. You do not review, and you do not add any rules to stop the same mistake. Hope without discipline and action turns into a very subtle form of procrastination. It numbs the pain for a moment, but the bill you pay later is much higher. Jesse Livermore did not understand that at the beginning. Like many traders today, he started out smart, bold, and full of hope. He walked into the bucket shops, read the tape, jumped in and out of trades. He won plenty and he lost plenty. Every time he lost, he said the same thing traders still say now: I will learn from this. Next time will be better. Sometimes he was right, but many times he was wrong. And each time he was wrong, the price tag got bigger. He made huge fortunes on big moves, but he also came close to losing everything, more than once. It was not because he did not understand the market. It was because he let emotion, especially hope, sit in the driver's seat. He hoped the trend would last longer than it did. He hoped he was still right when the market was saying otherwise. He hoped logic would eventually return to prices that were clearly breaking down. While that hope expanded, he ignored the clearest signal of all. The market had moved on from his opinion. After enough cycles like that, he finally understood. If hope is not anchored to discipline, it destroys every edge you think you have. You can be brilliant, experienced, and technically sharp, and still blow up if you let hope override your rules a few critical times. In real trading, hope usually wears three masks. The first mask is hope that a losing trade will come back. You go long. Price dips a little. If you were objective, you would recheck your reasoning. Is your setup still valid? Has structure broken? Is the trade still what you thought it was? But the first thing that pops into your head is not a question. It is a story. It is fine. It will bounce. Price moves deeper against you. Instead of cutting it, you drag your stop loss further away. Or worse, you remove it entirely. At that point, hope is not in the back seat anymore. It is driving. You stop asking, if I took this trade 100 times, would I still want this setup? Instead, you start asking, how can I avoid being stopped out this time? The cost of that kind of hope is not just the extra money you lose on this trade. Something deeper is happening. You are teaching yourself that it is okay to break your rules, that your plan is optional, that your emotions are allowed to overrule your system. On paper, your strategy might work. In real life, it will not, because the person running it does not have the courage to cut hope when it is clearly wrong. The second mask is hope that you will catch the entire move. Now it is not a loser. It is a winner. Price is moving in your favor. It is approaching the profit target you planned from the start. You could hit the button and lock in a solid, rational gain. But right as it gets there, another voice shows up. It looks like it wants to go further. Closing now would be a waste. Let it run a little longer. Maybe you can double it. You forget that your real goal was to trade well, not to squeeze every last cent out of one random move. You shift from executing a plan to chasing something perfect. Sometimes the market rewards that. Price keeps going. Your hope gets reinforced. Other times, it punishes you immediately. Price reverses. Your target never fills. Your open profit shrinks, then disappears, then maybe flips red. You have not just lost money. You have lost respect for your own rules. You start to believe you can feel the market, that you can sense exactly how far it wants to go. You forget that all you really own is probability, not the future. The third mask is more subtle. It is hope that next time will be different. This one shows up after the damage is done. You have blown a chunk of your account. You broke your rules. You know it was your fault. Guilt, frustration, and shame creep in. To ease the pain, you tell yourself the magic phrase, "Okay, I will learn from this and do better next time." But then, next time comes. There is no journaling, no hard data, no new rules to prevent the same behavior. And you repeat the same mistake, almost step by step. Each time, you are using hope as a painkiller instead of using truth as a scalpel to cut out the bad habit. Livermore fell into this loop too. Not because he was not smart, but because he was human. The ego hates saying I was wrong, so it loves to use hope as a curtain, pulling it down whenever reality gets too bright. After enough painful cycles, he realized something. If you do not impose hard rules on yourself, if you do not commit to acting on rules instead of feelings, your talent will not save you. Your experience will not save you. The market will win. He became famous for a principle that sounds purely technical. Never average down on a losing position. Underneath that is a deep psychological truth. I will not add more money and more hope to a decision the market has already proven wrong. He accepted that he could be wrong many times, but each time he was wrong, it had to be small. Hope was not allowed to extend his losses. Hope was not allowed to turn a mistake into a disaster. So why do we cling to hope so hard even when it keeps hurting us? Part of it is ego. Cutting a loss is not just closing a trade. It is admitting, my read was wrong. My view of the market was not accurate. I am not as special as I thought. That stings. So hope steps in to comfort you. Do not be too quick. Just wait. Maybe you are still right. Another part comes from the stories we grow up with. In school, in work, in life, we are told, do not give up. Hang in there. Winners never quit. Often, that is true. In many areas of life, staying a little longer, trying a bit harder, pushing through discomfort, gets you rewarded. But financial markets do not work on that moral logic. The more you cling to a wrong decision, the more you bleed. The market is not testing your faith. It is just doing math. In this world, hope is not inner strength. Very often, it is refusal to accept the rules of the game. We also confuse patience with stubbornness. Real patience is waiting for your setup, waiting for confirmation, waiting for a clear edge. Stubbornness is holding on to something that is clearly broken, but refusing to let go. Both feel like waiting, but one is waiting from a position of power. The other is waiting from a place of being trapped. Hope loves to disguise stubbornness as patience. Then there is loss aversion. Human brains hate losing money more than they enjoy making it. A small loss feels worse than an equal-sized gain feels good. To avoid that pain, you will do almost anything, including telling yourself a hopeful lie. As long as I have not closed it, I have not really lost. The market, of course, disagrees. It looks at your equity, not your denial. After paying the price enough times, Livermore had to change how he treated hope. He did not try to kill it. That is impossible. Hope is part of being human. Instead, he learned to move it. He stopped hoping that any individual trade would win. He started hoping that his system would show an edge over a large sample of trades. He stopped hoping the market would come back to rescue him. He started hoping he would always be disciplined enough to follow his own rules, even when it hurt. He stopped hoping for luck. He started hoping he would never ignore the signals that he was wrong. When you shift your hope away from single trades and place it into your ability to stick to your process, everything changes. Failure stops being a personal attack. It becomes data. A losing trade is no longer unfair. It is the fee you pay. so that your edge has a chance to show up over the next 100 trades. Thinking in probabilities is how you upgrade hope. Instead of saying, maybe this one works, you ask, if I took this exact trade 100 times, what would the results look like overall? Instead of hoping, this one must win, you start hoping, after 100 trades, will I still be proud of my consistency? Hope moves away from short-term outcomes and attaches itself to the long-term process. To truly detox from blind hope, you have to turn these ideas into behavior. Before entering a trade, ask yourself a few simple but honest questions. If this trade loses, am I still okay with the risk? Or did I size it too big? Am I taking this setup because it is in my plan? Or because I am bored and want action? If I repeated this trade 100 times, would I be happy with that? Or is this just a one-off impulse? While you are in a trade, watch your thoughts. When you catch yourself saying, just a little more time, or it has to come back, or it will probably stop me out and then go my way, that is your warning. Hope is trying to stand where your rules should be. That is the moment to pull your plan back up. Why did I enter? What was my original invalidation point? Where was my planned profit target? If the reason you entered is gone, but you are still in the trade because I am already in it, you are not trading. You are gambling. After closing a trade, do not just log the entry, exit, and profit or loss. Write down the story. What was I hoping for in this trade? Did I follow my plan, or did I follow my feelings? If I look back at this a month from now, will I be proud of how I handled it, no matter the result? Every time you do this, you pull the mask off hope and see it more clearly. Over time, as you repeat this, something inside you shifts. Hope does not disappear. It just moves. It stops hanging on every candle and every tick in your profit and loss. Instead, it attaches to a bigger picture, the trader you are trying to become. You start hoping for something different. Not, I hope this trade saves me, but I hope a year from now, I am trading with more discipline than today. At that point, trading stops being just about money. It becomes character work. Closing a loser at your planned stop does not just protect your account. It builds self-respect. Refusing to chase a move just because you fear missing out does not just prevent bad entries. It proves to yourself that you can live without emotional FOMO. Sitting out a whole day because nothing fits your criteria does not just keep you safe. It is you choosing inner peace over short-term excitement. The real cost of blind hope is not just the dollars you lose. It is the trader you never become. Every time you let hope call the shots in the wrong place, you move a step away from the version of you who trades with structure, principle, and strength. On the other hand, every time you cut misplaced hope, every time you accept a small loss to avoid a big one, every time you face a mistake and turn it into a new rule, you put hope back where it belongs, behind discipline, not in front of it. Livermore learned this the hard way. The market was not gentle with him. It is not gentle with anyone. But that is exactly why his story still matters. It is a warning. Hope, when misplaced, is a knife. It cuts through your capital and your confidence. Placed correctly, it is fuel. It keeps you going long enough for your edge to show up. As you change the way you hope, you change the way you see the market. In the early days, every candle feels like a promise. Every spike looks like a shot to change your life. Every piece of news triggers a new fantasy. You look at charts like lottery tickets. Hope is the color you paint every scenario with. As you mature, the candles do not change, but their meaning does. You start seeing the market as a probability engine, a testing ground, and a mirror. A mirror that reflects your discipline, your impulses, and your level of self-control. You stop asking, how much can I make on this? And start asking, what does this trade say about the way I operate? That is how Livermore eventually viewed his own journey. His huge wins and brutal drawdowns were not just about money. Behind each rise and fall was a psychological phase. Times he was sharp. Times he was arrogant. Times hope pushed him too far. Times he had to crawl back to the basics. He reached a level of success most traders will never touch. He also lost it all more than once. It is not a fairy tale. It is a cold reminder. No one is immune to blind hope, greed, or overconfidence. When hope drifts away from discipline and into fantasy and ego, it does not matter who you are. The market can bring you back to zero. The difference between traders who learn from the fall and those who repeat it is what they do with hope afterwards. One trader says, "I hope I get luckier next time," and keeps playing the same game. Another says, "I hope I do better next time," and actually changes how they think, how they trade, and how they enforce rules. One tries to save their ego. The other tries to rebuild their character. Look closely, and you will see this. The cost of hope is not paid only in money. You pay with time, with energy, and with peace of mind. Every time you hold a loser purely out of hope, you are not just losing dollars. You are losing sleep. You are losing focus. You are losing patience with your family, your work, and your life. When you are holding and hoping, you are not only straining your account, you are straining your whole nervous system. On the flip side, every time you cleanly cut a bad trade, you are not just saving capital. You are protecting your mental bandwidth. You give yourself the right to restart from a clearer emotional baseline. You remind yourself of something crucial. You can be wrong, but you do not have to let a wrong decision drag on. At some point in your trading journey, you will realize something uncomfortable. You are not really learning the market anymore. You are learning yourself. The market does not fundamentally change. It just changes how it responds to you. Because you have changed. When you are full of blind hope, it has endless ways to put you in pain. When you move your hope from individual trades to your process, it turns into something else. It becomes a test of patience instead of a roller coaster of emotions. Once you reach that stage, the question stops being, "Is the market going to give me money?" and becomes, "Am I still the kind of trader who deserves the profits my system can produce?" Deserve here is not moral. It is practical. Are you consistent enough? Are you honest, G-Nug, with yourself? Are you disciplined enough to give your edge a chance to work? After all the highs and lows, one lesson stands out from Livermore's life. The market does not need your hope. It needs your clarity. Clarity about why you are entering. Clarity about how much you are willing to lose. Clarity about where you will admit you are wrong. Clarity about what you will do, even when your emotions scream for the opposite. Once you are clear, hope starts to matter less in the short term. You do not need to hope this one trade works, because you know that over 50 or 100 trades, if you follow your rules, the numbers will show themselves. You do not need to hope the market likes you. Your job is not to be liked. Your job is to survive. You do not need to hope you make money today. Your real job is to avoid wrecking tomorrow. When that clicks, hope changes color. It is no longer a frantic whisper trying to keep you in a bad trade. It becomes a quiet, deeper feeling. I believe that if I keep doing the right things, the future is still worth walking toward. That is disciplined hope, not gambling hope. Maybe right now, you are in the phase where hope and fear are tangled together every time you open a chart. You still tell yourself, just a bit more. Maybe it will reverse. Next time, I will be better. There is nothing shameful about that. Everyone who steps into this game walks through that fog. Livermore did too. The issue is not that you have been there. The issue is whether you plan to stay there forever. If you are serious about moving past it, start with the smallest decisions. One time you cut a loss exactly where you said you would. even though it hurts. One time you take profit at your planned level, even though you want just a little more. One day you stay flat because there is no clean setup, even though your hands itch to trade. Each of those choices is a brick. Over time, you build a new identity, the identity of a trader who does not live on blind hope anymore. One day, you will look back and realize this. Hope is still in you, but it has moved. It is not attached to single candles or random trades. It is attached to your whole journey. You hope that a year from now, you will be more disciplined than you are today. You hope that your future self will be grateful you cut that loser, instead of feeding it with more and more hope. You hope that you will look back and say, "That was the moment I stopped lying to myself." The real cost of hope in trading is not about whether you have hope or not. It is about what your hope is serving. Is it serving your ego, keeping alive the illusion that you are always right, that the market owes you a reversal, that you can escape math with emotion? Or is it serving something bigger, a clear system, a long-term path, a better version of you? The market will always be the market, cold, indifferent, full of opportunity and full of traps. But because of that, it is also one of the truest mirrors you will ever face. It does not listen to your stories. It reflects your behavior. If you are full of blind hope and afraid to admit you are wrong, your chart will show it in red. If you are full of discipline, able to handle uncertainty, and committed to the long game, your chart will show that too, in a smoother, steadier equity curve. You do not have to repeat Livermore's entire path. You can look at his story and ask yourself right now, from this point on, am I going to keep paying for hope in the wrong places? Or am I finally going to change where I put it? The answer is not out there in the market. It is in every moment you sit in front of your screen, in every decision to enter or exit, in every split second where you hear that little voice whisper, "Maybe," in your head. Do you listen to that voice, or to the rules you wrote when your mind was clear? Hope will always be there. The market will always be there. The real question is this: from today forward, what price are you willing to pay for your hope?